Alrighty, welcome back to the Spot Hockey Show. Today, I thought I'd take a look at a trade that happened quite a while ago. I've been late to everything recently, and I apologize for that. Got to keep up on top of things. But either way, taking a look at one, the Calgary Flames season, what they're looking like currently, and two, just looking at this trade as well. So, if you guys didn't know, Yoel Farabee and Morgan Frost were traded to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jakob Pelletier, a 2025 second, and a 2028 seventh round pick. I don't like to pick winners and losers. I am a big fan of the Flames, obviously. I think the Flames made out pretty well with this one. Farabee hasn't been as great point wise in Calgary yet, but it's also only been 2 games. Morgan Frost has scored a goal, though. He's looked really, really good in Calgary. Either way. Let's take a look at Farabee here first. So, Farabee, he is 24 years of age, 6 feet tall, 186 pounds. He plays larger than how much he weighs. He's a good player. He's a hard-nosed player. He hits. He's showed a little bit more of a scoring touch than he has this year, especially. Anyways, this year, 50 games, 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points. His career high is 50 points, which was last year, 82 games, 22 goals, 28 assists, 50 points. So he could be a perennial 50-point player given a better system, which I think the Calgary Flames have, in all honesty, for offense especially. It seems to me that it's a better system, and also just give him more ice time. I know he was playing on the second line in Philly for the majority of his time last year and this year, but I think he'll more than likely still get more time for this Flames team. He is slotted, I believe, currently right now in that number one slot. So, yeah, as I said, currently over 2 games played, 0 points, -1, whatever. He's new to the team. He's playing first line minutes. I think he's going to do well. Morgan Frost, his career high was last year as well. 71 games played, 13 goals, 28 assists for 41 points. He's been a sort of guy that tends to bounce around. He's bounced from the first line to the second line, sometimes all the way down to the fourth line. John Tortorella likes to move around those lines. So anyways, 25 years of age. He's 6 feet tall, 193 pounds. A couple of bigger bodies for sure that the Flames picked up, which I am a fan of. And then, of course, for the Flames, 2 games, 1 goal for 1 point. Hey, he's looking pretty good. Just going over the contracts here. So, Farabee is signed to a $5 million cap hit until 2027, 2028. I think that's a pretty good cap hit, especially where the cap's going. And if they envision this kid as being a first line player, yeah, that's going to end up being a steal later on. I honestly think he's better suited along with Morgan Frost on that second line. And I believe they have Frost playing on that second line right now. But for this year, where the Flames are and where they were supposed to be, this is perfectly fine with me. I'm okay with him playing first line minutes, especially with how well this team's played with nobody really over a point per game, which I'm going to go over after. But yeah, so Morgan Frost, 2.5 or $2.1 million cap hit, and he's an RFA at the end of the season, so they don't have to worry about him walking at the end of the season, but they do need to sign him to a contract. What does that look like? Probably a bit of a raise. I'd say 3 million, 3.5 million, somewhere in there. I'd be happy with for 3-4 years. Anything more than that, lengthwise, I'd be okay with. Anything more than that, salary wise, I'd be a little bit iffy about, unless they sign him to an 8-year contract for 5 million. Then okay, makes sense. You envision him as your second line center, $5 million, 8 years. That takes him until he's a little bit past his prime. But if you see this team contending for a playoff spot from here out in the future, yeah, I think it's a good move. So Andrei Kuzmenko on the other side of the coin, obviously going to the Philadelphia Flyers here. He has been a very, very good player in the National Hockey League in his quote unquote rookie season for the Vancouver Canucks. So, yeah, his career high 74 points and basically 40 goals. So, yeah, 2022, 2023, 81 games played, 39 goals, 35 assists for 74 points. That was an unreal season. Him and Pedersen had great chemistry together. They looked fantastic together. And then past that point, the next season, played 43 games, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points. John Tortorella was not, or not John Tortorella. Rick Tocchet was not a fan of Kuzmenko's game, scratched him a lot, benched him a lot. So therefore, he moves to the Calgary Flames. His first I guess half season, quarter season in Calgary. 29 games played, 14 goals, 11 assists, 25 points. Looked fantastic for Calgary as soon as he came over. I thought he looked great. Bit of a liability defensively, but if you're scoring enough goals to make up for it, whatever. And then this year, definitely a much, much, much slower start. 37 games played, 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points. So that goal scoring has dropped off a cliff this season, and he's a liability defensively. So like I said, you can deal with a bit of a liability defensively as long as they're still producing. He has not shown that he's able to produce, therefore moves over to Philly. So his cap, $5.5 million. He's a UFA at the end of this year. I'm going to assume that he's not going to be making as much as that. I don't know if Philly re-signs him. I'm very curious to see what happens with him and Tortorella. I don't think he's a very Torts-like player, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll flourish in this system. No idea. It is not a very offensively minded system, though. So he is 29 years of age, 5'11", 194 pounds. Yeah, very curious to see what happens. I am. I, I like him a lot. I like him as a player. He seems like a fun guy. He seems to be able to get along with everybody. I'm just, like I said, very curious what happens in that locker room or between him and the coach. So anyways, Jakob Pelletier, who's one of the players that I liked a lot, just hasn't really been able to find his footing in Calgary or in the NHL as much. So anyways, career high this year, 11 points. This year he's played 24 games, 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points, plus 10. He looked really good on that first line a few games ago. I can't remember who they played. LA possibly had a goal and an assist. He is a smaller player for sure. He's 5'9", 170 pounds, 23 years of age, so that's the big thing. He is a young player. He can grow into something else. He's sort of bounced back and forth between the AHL and the NHL since really 2021, 2022, just sort of bounced around. Obviously, he was a first round pick in 2019. So currently he's capped $800,000 until the end of the season, where he's still going to be an RFA. So more than likely signs a contract with Philly. I'd say probably still around that cap hit, given that he hasn't really shown to be a crazy good offensive contributor in the NHL thus far. But if he starts off really, really well in Philly, I wouldn't be shocked to see them try to figure out a contract with him right away. So, yeah. Calgary Flames lines currently look like this. So, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nazem Kadri, Yoel Farabee on that first line, as I said. Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund, and Matt Coronado on that second. Morgan Frost is currently playing the third line / second line. Calgary's a little bit interesting. They like to roll all 4 lines. They do roll that first line a little bit more than others, but that second, third line plays a pretty even amount of time. So Igor Sharangovich, Morgan Frost, and Martin Pospisil, which I think that is a fantastic line. Big bodies, good scoring forwards. Everybody can score on that line. It's very well organized too. Frost is sort of your playmaker. Sharangovich is your sniper, and Pospisil is sort of your power forward grinder type. So I like that line a lot. Lots of Pospisil can round up pucks from the boards, feed him over to Frost, where Frost can try to find Sharangovich. So I do like that line a lot. Power play currently looks like this. So Nazem Kadri playing with Morgan Frost, Matt Coronado, Mackenzie Weegar, and Jonathan Huberdeau. So yeah, Morgan Frost obviously on that first power play unit. Second power play, Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund, Igor Sharangovich, Yoel Farabee, and Rasmus Andersson. So yeah, I think this team looked really, really good last night against Seattle. Obviously, they were up 3-0, almost came back on. Whatever, they still won the game. I think they look pretty good. So yeah, a bit of a shocker. I know everybody was, including myself, was very, very, very down on Jonathan Huberdeau over these past 2 years. And why wouldn't you be? He looked terrible. But this year, 52 games played, 20 goals, 17 assists for 37 points. Still under a point per game. Still not where you want the points. But they're winning games, and that's the most important thing. It's scoring by committee right now. No one person is over a point per game. The crazy thing, though, about Jonathan Huberdeau is he sort of reinvented himself as a guy that can score goals. I'm actually curious to see. Sorry, 1 second here. So yeah, over the halfway mark of the season, 20 goals, obviously. His career high in goals has been 30. He's hit that mark twice. I believe he's on pace for more than that this year, though. So yeah, he's looked good as a goal scorer. Would I like to see those assists go up like he did in his last year in Florida, where he had 85 assists? Of course. Does he have the same talent on this team that he had in Florida? Not even close. He's not passing the puck to Barkov, and that's a pretty big deal. When you got Barkov on your line, a guy that can one, find passes and find seams and find shots really easily, and two, also know how to receive the passes that Jonathan Huberdeau is giving him. Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. Not that Nazem Kadri isn't a great player, but he is not Barkov, and I think we can all agree with that. So yeah, he's 31 years of age, Huberdeau, making $10.5 million until 2031. So that's a bit of a doozy. He is going to be old when he ends that contract. So that was the big thing when they signed him to that contract. It still is not looking like a great contract right now. I don't think it's going to get much better from here, but if the team's winning, it really doesn't matter as much. So yeah, Nazem Kadri is your second there, 36 points. So 52 games played, 18 goals, 18 assists for 36 points. And then Blake Coleman, Coronado, Mackenzie Weegar. The young guys have been showing out. The big one that I want to point out here is Connor Zary. Connor Zary has looked honestly amazing this year. I remember Taylor Hall in Spit and Chicklets talking about a few players that he wanted to shout out in particular, guys that he thought looked much better this year, or guys that really stand out to him. Connor Zary was one of the names that he brought out. So that's pretty big, I think, for the Calgary Flames. Either way, yeah. Pelletier, only the 24 games played, obviously. So you're not missing out on much with him. And I don't even see Andrei Kuzmenko here with 15 points. So yeah, you're adding a good amount of offense here. I would like to see Anthony Mantha come back quick. He looked great. He looked amazing in Calgary. He wasn't playing a lot of minutes. He's playing on that third line / second line, but he looked really, really good. I don't know. Yeah, I was really, really happy to see how well he played in Calgary, especially since playing in Washington. He didn't look fantastic. He comes over to Calgary and looks like, honestly, pretty good. Not like a perennial 40 goal, 80 point guy or whatever, but he's a big body and he was using it and he was scoring a decent amount of goals and he was getting some assists. And yeah, I was happy with his game. So hopefully he can get back pretty quick here. So I just wanted to go over the Calgary Flames' chances of making the playoffs here. I kind of went over it yesterday in the Canucks video as well. If you want to take a look at that, please do. The Calgary Flames are currently sitting at 63.8% chance making the playoffs, so that has risen quite precipitously since the last time I took a look at this, disregarding yesterday's video, like last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever I made those videos. The Vancouver Canucks are sitting at 33.3% chance, and those two teams are very interlocked in one another. They're the only two teams that could hypothetically catch each other, in my opinion. Obviously, St. Louis is still there. I don't see St. Louis going on a crazy run, though. So yeah, Calgary Flames, 52 games played, 59 points. They are currently 26, 19, and 7. So it's pretty decent. Goal differential should be turned around a little bit. Over their last 10, they're 5-5 and 0. As I said last night, they won against Seattle. Not fantastic over their last 10, but they're winning enough games. They're winning more games than the Canucks. So that's the big thing. Vancouver Canucks obviously need to figure out their OT, which I talked about that in yesterday's video as well. But yeah, the Flames making the playoffs over the Canucks, I don't know if anybody saw that coming. I personally, even as a Flames fan, I was quite upset that Jonathan Huberdeau was actually starting to look good at the start of the year. I thought that he was looking good for absolutely no reason. This team's not going to make the playoffs, all this stuff. As of right now, though, they're looking like they're going to make the playoffs, and they look pretty good. It's pretty crazy. I was not expecting this at all. How far they go in the playoffs, I have no idea. As of right now, they would be playing the Winnipeg Jets in the first round. So don't like those chances very much. That being said, though, if Connor Hellebuck puts up another stinker in the playoffs, we could be looking at a pretty decent first round defeat. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like if you liked it. Tell your friends that I make YouTube videos on the YouTube platform under the alias The Spot Hockey Show. Thanks.